Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be breaking down the Monday Night Football slate we have between the Browns and the Bengals. $500,000 up top to first place on DraftKings, so a bunch of money for us to win. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I'll be going over my best plays, some mid-range options, and some dart throws we can go over on today's slate. Once again, hit the like button. I'll see you guys in the slate breakdown. As always, follow me on Twitter at HartDFS. I was on a great streak. I cashed 4 showdown slates in a row. Last night would have been 5. Unfortunately, I missed it by less than a point, about 0.5 away from cashing and making it 5 in a row with a near takedown in one of those days, one of those streaks. So pretty frustrating. You know, I went with Diggs, Allen, Davis, Bass, Dubes, Dobbs, and then Watkins, and just super frustrating. Obviously, we know Stefan's going to eat. Allen's going to do good. Gabe Davis, very disappointing. Had like 5 or 6 targets. Only caught 2 of them. Bass was fine. Bass, whatever you want to call him. Dobbs was great. And then Sammy Watkins was just pretty much getting cardio. Not sure why he was out there. That was super frustrating. You know, chalk Aaron Jones. They're going to be down 3 touchdowns, and they're just going to keep running it. It really makes no sense. But yeah, winning lineup was Diggs, Allen, Jones, Bass, Bass, whatever you want to call him, Dubes, Dubs, and Torrey. So yeah, barely missed cash. Frustrating there. Kind of just a frustrating weekend overall. Oh well, but looking to move forward to this Monday Night Football slate, should be a pretty decent game. I'm kind of pumped for it. You know, Cleveland obviously is not that exciting, but no, Nick Chubb, watching him play is great. Cincinnati, obviously we have Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase is unfortunately out, but we do have T. Higgins, so should be a decently exciting game. Looking forward to it. Obviously, there's 500,000, so let's win that and let's take this down. So at the top, we have Joe Burrow, 11-4 on the Cincinnati side. Obviously, it looks like the safer play out of the both quarterbacks. Obviously, has a huge ceiling. It does come down a little bit now with Jamar Chase not being in this game, but I still think he has a very solid ceiling. As you can see, lowest game for him was 16 fantasy points, and then that's something that we really want on this showdown slate. It feels like a lot of the times it's quarterbacks that have, you know, the floor of like 10 fantasy points to maybe 25. Joe Burrow's now one of those guys who has like that floor of 15 to now like 45 plus. So I think he makes for pretty much 100% lock in the flex, unless for some reason he has a god-awful game. And then I do think he makes for a good optimal quarterback play in the captain spot, just because, you know, now with Jamar Chase out, you know, maybe his targets get consolidated more towards like T. Higgins, but he does have T. Higgins. He has Joe Mixon, his Hayden Hurst, you know, his Tyler Boyd. So he does have a good amount of options to where if he has a good game, you know, most likely it's him throwing it to a bunch of different guys, which would make him the optimal QB. So I don't mind going there with him, 11-4. Jamar Chase is obviously out. And the good thing with the Cincinnati Bengals is they run their main 3 wide receiver sets pretty much the whole game. So it's not like they're shifting in 3 to 4 to 5 different wide receivers for that number 3 and 2 spot. So it's really nice that they keep their lineup kind of consolidated. Joe Mixon looks pretty solid here. You know, he's been great at getting those touches, pretty much 15 plus when it comes to running the ball. Going to see probably 3 to 4 targets, if not more, out of the backfield. So he's upside in both. Big ceiling on both sides. He just hasn't really gotten that many touchdowns. It's why, you know, he's kind of been average this year in terms of fantasy. So I don't mind taking a shot there. Looks like a very solid flex play. Same thing with the captain. Looks like a good captain play. T. Higgins will probably be 80% owned for obvious reasons. Jamar Chase is out. T. Higgins is a great wide receiver now that he's at wide receiver 1. Should see, I'd say, about 10 targets this game. Makes for a great captain play. Makes for a very safe flex play. Tyler Boyd, a little bit cheaper. I think he makes for a decent play. I absolutely slam him into my lineups. He sometimes can go a little overlooked. I know there's, you know, some games where T. Higgins is missed, and you'd think, you know, Tyler Boyd would step up. Really hasn't. He's kind of hot and cold. Either he's going to do very well, or he's going to do pretty average. So one of those things that I don't mind it. Obviously, he's going to see a few more targets in this game, but you never really know. So he kind of makes more a boomer bust captain, kind of a little bit safer flex play. Hayden Hurst, I like me a good amount of Hayden Hurst, number 1 tight end for the Bengals. He's gotten, you know, pretty involved in the passing game when he's been out there. You know, a few of these games he's gotten hurt, hasn't seen much run, but coming off a nice game, 8 targets, 6 for 48. He's a red zone threat. It'd be nice if he got a touchdown. I'm not sure if he's got enough juice to make him an optimal captain. Maybe if it's just a little bit low scoring game, he could sneak in there. I'd say he looks like a great flex play for me. P. Ryan, maybe he sees a few more touches, but it's just more if you want to take a dart throw that Joe Mixon does bad or gets hurt or something. I really don't think you need to go to P. Ryan. McPherson, the kickers obviously look great as great value plays on the showdown slate, so like him a good amount. Wouldn't be opposed to getting to both kickers just because they have great legs, so they can hit long field goals. And we know the kickers are pretty solid on the showdown slates. Bengals, you can go to the defenses on the slate. I don't mind them. I just rather prefer getting to the offenses. Mike Thomas is going to be wide receiver 3 for the Bengals. $1,200. Looks like a solid value play. I don't know how involved he'll get in the passing game, because obviously they can lean on Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst. So it's not like Mike Thomas is going to come into this role and average 8 targets. Maybe he could. We never know. He's an okay wide receiver, not like nothing special. So I could see him getting maybe 4 to 5 targets. So I don't mind that at 1,200. But it's one of those things kind of super risky. So I'd say maybe he's just a safe flex play. I don't know if I'd put him in the captain spot. Wilcox will be tight end number 2. We'll see some snaps. I just don't think he has to force anything. Just with how, the Bengals keep everything kind of consolidated with their lineup. I just want to see, I'd say, just stick with their main guys. Trent Taylor, we'll see some snaps, now with Mike. He'll share some snaps with, where is he? Mike Thomas as that third wide receiver. So you could look to him if you want to do an absolute dart throw. Otherwise, that's pretty much it on the Bengals side. On the Cleveland side, obviously their offense is a lot more consolidated. Nick Chubb, the main force behind their offense. I think he looks great. Pretty pricey, 10-4, so you kind of do need him to at least get 100 yards and almost a touchdown to, kind of pay off that price. But once again, he's been fantastic this year. Bengals D has been solid when it comes to the run the past few games. So, maybe slightly risky, but obviously makes for a great flex play. Decent captain play. Maybe I'd rather prefer getting to one of the wide receivers, but obviously he can go off for, a multi-touchdown game. So don't mind going to Nick Chubb. Looks like a solid play today. Jacoby Brissett, as I mentioned, kind of one of those quarterbacks, game manager, does have that really low floor, hasn't really shown a ceiling. So it's like one of those things you can definitely get away with fading Jacoby Brissett, especially with how focused they are on running the ball. So he just makes for an okay flex play for me. Mari Cooper, 7,600, makes for a good captain play, good flex play. Kind of boomer bust. It did have 2 big games. Seen a bunch of targets, which is, I guess something that's good. Not something I don't think many people were expecting with how much the Browns run the ball, but makes for a solid play here in the flex and captain spot, 7,600. Obviously, that leaves you with a ton of room to fit in a bunch of studs in the flex play if you're going to play Mari Cooper at captain. If you play him at captain, you don't necessarily need to play Brissett alongside him like you would most of the time with other wide receivers, just because Brissett does have that floor. They do run the ball a ton, so it's like, Amari could go off for, 7 to 10 catches for 100-plus yards and a touchdown, and Jacoby could still be at like 12 to 15 fantasy points and not necessarily be in the optimal lineup. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, Amari Cooper looks good. Kareem Hunt, I'd say he's the biggest question mark on this slate. They are open to trading him, so I could definitely see, as you can see the past 2 games, they've lost. He hasn't been super involved. I could definitely see them shelving Kareem Hunt this game where he maybe gets like 5 touches, and if they're down, I definitely can see them throwing it in Dearness Johnson as the backup in this spot. Maybe they're fielding calls, maybe they have a trade in place, especially if they lose tonight. They're definitely going to trade Kareem Hunt, so he's super risky on the slate. Obviously, if they go down to Cleveland early, or to the Bengals early, they're going to, utilize him as a pass catcher, but it's one of those things. Past 2 games, hasn't really been involved. He's on the trade block. People have a lot of interest in him. I could definitely see them icing him this game, making sure he's healthy, and just, running it back with Dearness Johnson. So I don't mind taking that dart throw there with Dearness Johnson or whoever you think the running back 2 is going to be. I'd say it's going to be D'Ernest, but who knows? But I'm just going to throw that out there. Not a lot of people are mentioning it, and I do think it's worth being mentioned that, that trade interest with Kareem Hunt could definitely play a role in him not getting much touches tonight. Peoples-Jones looks like an okay value play. He's seeing about 5+ targets a game. Hasn't been doing a ton with them. 11 to 12 fantasy points is decent, so I'd say he's more as like a flex play for me. Cade York looks like a solid value play as a kicker. Has a great legs, so we know with these shut-on slates, the kickers usually shine. Harrison Bryant going to be tight end 1 with Njoku out. I'd say he should see maybe 4 to 6 targets in this game. Really need him to fall in the end zone. Don't really think he's going to be as explosive as Njoku was, but he is a decent pass-catching tight end, so don't mind going there for some value if you want to get a little risky. Browns D, I'd say I prefer them over the Bengals just because they obviously have Myles Garrett. Yeah, I mean, they're a pretty good defense. I don't think any defense is a necessity to play tonight. David Bell, wide receiver 3, not seeing much. You can take that dart throw there if you want. Wood seeing a few snaps here and there, not really much. Njoku out, as I said. Farrell Brown was the backup, third string but tight end. He's questionable. If he's in, he should see the second tight end role behind Harrison Bryant. You can maybe take a dart throw there. Hope he gets like a touchdown in the red zone. Otherwise, I won't force it. Swartz, seeing a few snaps here and there. As I mentioned, Felton maybe is that running back 3. And that really does it. Maybe you can take a shot on one of these other, backup tight ends if Farrell Brown gets ruled out, because the Browns do run 2 tight end sets at times. But really think you kind of stay above that 4,000 mark for the Browns. Really do suggest, maybe taking a shot on D'Ernest Johnson, especially with that interest in Hunt. I don't think a lot of people are going to be, playing with that. It could really work out in their favor. So I'm just going to mention that. I'd say my favorite captain plays on the slate would be, as of right now, I still have about 9 hours to go to the slate starts. I'd say, Mixon's up there for me. Obviously, T. Higgins is going to be extremely popular. I don't mind getting super risky, not super risky, but kind of risky, going down to a guy like Hayden Hurst. So yeah, there's a good amount of options we can get, kind of different from the slate with. But yeah, those are kind of, the interest areas I have right now. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.